Hello everybody, Myster here, and welcome back to another episode of Myster Talks Movies, a series where I go over the various movies that I've seen and I talk about them and give my own opinions about them. And sorry for the lack of uploads. I have been very busy with my schoolwork and all that, but I'm able to generate this much free time to be doing one of these videos. And as always, I'd like to thank you all for the support that I've been getting for this channel, and if you like what you see, feel free to like the video and subscribe so that you don't miss any more videos. Also, feel free to comment down below if there's any movies you'd like for me to talk about next. So, without any further ado, let's get right into it. Well, this one should be fun. This one's a request from the Instagram story I did a while back. This one is very popular. I'm pretty sure everyone's seen it. The movie I'm talking about is this Fight Club. Yeah, this movie came out in 1999. It was directed by David Fincher and is the fourth film of his that I put on my movie vlog. Yeah, this movie is like one of the biggest, most talked about movies in social media, so this one should be very interesting to, be talking about, considering its reputation. Oh, and before I actually do get started on this movie, I'd just like to point out that this movie I'm going to be talking about is not like the other movies that I've been talking about. This one's a lot grittier, a lot more intense than what I'm usually used to. So, yeah, what I'm about to talk about in this movie is very, very messed up. So, if you have like weak constitutions or anything, I suggest you skip this video. I saw this movie last weekend, so I should be very good when it comes to memorizing this. Here it is. Alright, opening credits sequence later, we're introduced to the film's protagonist. This one should be interesting. The main character of this movie doesn't seem to have any given name, right? He doesn't have a name throughout the entire course of the movie. So the movie just pretty much calls this guy the narrator, played by Edward Norton. So yeah, this guy doesn't have it. Like I said, this guy doesn't have a name, so I'm just gonna call him Nar for short, or something like that. Anyway, he's in this empty building. He's held at gunpoint by this one dude named Tyler Durden, played by Brad Pitt. It's kind of a weird predicament Nar's got himself into. Basically, he's being held hostage by Tyler, and he's also set up has set up a big bomb that's gonna blow up a couple of buildings. And now, of course, narrator narrates, and he's like, yeah, I bet you're probably wondering how this all started. So yeah, he basically rewinds the movie and goes up to the beginning, where we basically get Nar's backstory and his motives and all that. So yeah, basically the narrator has insomnia. Yeah, he's been working a dead-end job at an office, doing the same stuff over and over again, and he gets pretty tired. Basically he gets very tired of all the consumerism that goes on in today's society. I'm sure you guys know how it is, with the Starbucks and the Amazons and the stuff like that. Yeah, he's also got a nice place. He has his own condo. He's got a bunch of real fancy furniture. It looks pretty cool. And the narrator has to find a way to I don't know, spend his nights so that he can sleep better. And one of his coworkers suggested that he go to this one's interesting. He should go to one of those, I don't know, meetings or whatever. This is kind of hard to explain. You know how some people that are like going through a thing, they kind of like go to a certain group so that they can like share their feelings and that? Well, basically narrator went to that. But here's the thing. He's going to a thing for I feel very uncomfortable saying this. It's for testicular cancer victims. So basically they just have to, so basically the guys have, the people at these meetings tend to just, I don't know, talk, hug each other and cry because their balls got cut off. And anyway, that's when narrator meets this one guy named Bob Paulson, played by Meatloaf, rip. You know, you got narrator and Bob. They're kind of hugging there with the circle with a bunch of other dudes, and for no reason at all, narrator starts crying, and I don't know. He says it feels good. It feels good to just let it out, you know, and so yeah, he starts going to this kind of stuff regularly. And even though he doesn't actually have any of this stuff, he goes to, I don't know, guided meditation sessions or lots of other stuff that involves that kind of thing. And he doesn't really have any of that stuff. So he just kind of goes there just to feel something, and anything actually, and. If you think this is, I don't know, a little awkward, you ain't seen nothing yet. Anyway, this is where we're introduced to this girl. Her name is Marla Singer. She's played by Elena Carter. She starts showing up to these meetings that narrator also goes to, and like narrator, she also lies about her conditions going to these types of meetings, and she kind of just kills the vibe with narrator, you know, like narrator just doesn't like having her in these meetings because it's the best way I can explain it is that Marla kills the vibe, and so. Yeah, you got one day, narrator confronts Marla about Marla, and then he's like, yeah, listen, can you like not show up some days because you're kind of I don't know, killing the vibe, and you know, they eventually make a compromise. Marla goes to some meetings. And, you know, narrator goes to others. So, yeah, he ends up with spending less time at the, I don't know, testicular cancer-like groups or whatever. And then he starts going on business trips, I believe. Yeah, he starts flying across the country doing stuff. What kind of stuff? I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. But this is where things start to get interesting. Because that is where narrator first meets Tyler, you know, Brad Pitt's character. They have a very weird discussion. Apparently, Tyler makes a living by making and selling soap. Yes, soap, the bars. And I don't know, they start talking about stuff like, Tyler is basically talking to narrator and about chemicals, and he's like, whatever you do, don't mix chemical A with chemical B because that makes an explosive. You know, you can make a lot of explosives with just household items, and then I'm just like, Yeah, that's not really a kind of thing you talk about on an airplane, if you catch my drift. Anyway, when they do land, basically, narrator's luggage gets lost. He kind of gets it mixed up with Tyler's. I don't know, it gets... I don't know, they think the briefcase is vibrating. So, yeah, I think I forgot to leave this out. Apparently, narrator and Tyler have the same briefcases, so they probably got swapped. So, oh, that's not even half of it. When narrator gets back to his apartment, he is soon discovered that, well, his apartment blew up. Yeah, with no warning or anything, his apartment and all the really cool stuff he has in it is destroyed in a big explosion, possibly caused by, I don't know, the gas stove and the thing with the refrigerator. I mean, my stove's electric, so I don't have to worry about that. Narrator is now homeless, so he has to figure out what to do with it. So he has to figure out where to stay. He tries to call Marla, but then he's like, nah, you know what, let's not do that. Ooh, I know, how about the guy that I just talked to in the airport that seemed really sketchy and talked about explosives? So they call and they meet at this one bar. They have a few drinks and talk for a bit. Like I said, I've pretty much forgotten what they were talking about. But, yeah, we learned a little bit about Tyler. Apparently he has a thing working at the movies. This is kind of a little messed up to explain. You know how, like, in movie theaters, like in the cameras, where you got these, I don't know, rolls with, like, the movie tapes and whatnot? Well, the thing is, you got the part, like, in between takes, where, like, if you're going through a thing, you see, like, a thing that comes up for, like, a split second, indicating a take change. And the thing is that Tyler basically does that, only he occasionally puts pictures of a guy's penis on the tape, and kind of plays that along with the movie and traumatizes children. Yeah, that's messed up. He also has a side gig working as a waiter at a fancy hotel restaurant. So yeah, anyway, the two of them eventually become friends, and Tyler and narrator are outside of the bar. They're talking about, society and the consumerism and constant stress and all that, and Tyler's like, all right, you know what, I want you to hit me. I want you to hit me real hard. And so narrator's like, wait, you want me to punch you? That's a little out of nowhere, don't you think? And he's like, oh, believe me, we're gonna be going somewhere with this later. So go ahead, hit me. And so he's like, all right, if you say so. And so yeah, he gets punched in the ear, and he's like, oh, mother. Yeah, the two of them start fighting, but it feels. But the weird thing is, they feel pretty good about beating each other up. Yeah, who'd have thought that, who'd have thought a good way to relieve stress was to beat the ever-living shit out of somebody. So after they fight, they kind of just sit there and they're like, yeah, you know what? We should do this again sometime. And yeah, Tyler lets narrator stay at his place for a little while. The place is a very old house. It looks like a looks like it's been abandoned for some time. It looks like it just looks like I'm just gonna tell you that. But you know, at least he has a roof over his head, so reminder that narrator and Tyler are now roommates, and they fight each other outside of the bar regularly. And so, yeah, one night more people start catching wind of the two of them fighting, and then they start trying to join in as well. And so, yeah, next thing you know, there's a bunch of guys fighting outside of the bar, and, well, and then Fight Club was born, I guess. You got basically a bunch of guys meeting every now and again to just beat out of each other for stress relief. So yeah, they eventually get a setting for these what they call fight clubs. They basically go under the bar that they've been going to. The bartender lets them use the basement to use for their little club. And every night night of the meeting or whatever, Tyler then demonstrates the rules of Fight Club, because every club's got to have rules. And, the first rule of Fight Club is that you're not supposed to talk about Fight Club. Yeah, it's supposed to, maintain the high confidentiality of this kind of Fight Club. And it's a rule that's so important that it's the second rule too. Only this time it's in red text, it's in bold, and it's underlined. So, yeah, there's also a kind of a big joke going around on the internet when it comes to this. Yeah, apparently whenever movie fanatic users on Instagram post about this movie, they always try to leave out the name of the movie Fight Club for the post to maintain the joke or whatever. Heck, I even censored it on my movie list. So yeah, the rest of the rules of Fight Club are pretty straightforward. Only 2 people for a fight, 1 fight at a time, no shirts and no shoes. Fight stops if someone taps out or goes unconscious, and if it's your first night at Fight Club, you have to fight. And so yeah, basically you just have a bunch of shirtless dudes beating out of each other. So yeah, that seems like something I don't really vibe with, honestly. I don't like violence, although there are some movies that I really like fighting. Like, you got Star Wars, obviously, you got lots of fighting there, really like that. Despite its, weird premise, Fight Club actually becomes a big success. Lots of people, a bunch of guys start doing it. Yeah, sometime later, we're back at Tyler's house. Narrator somehow gets a call from Marla, the girl from earlier, and that's kind of weird. Basically, she's like, hey, I know you haven't been showing up to any of these meetings lately. Yeah, so I don't really know what's going on, but she says that, she says that she probably has this thing going on where if she sleeps, she dies, but she could be lying, I don't know, but yeah, but, narrator eventually drops the phone and walks away, but then Tyler intercepts the message, and he goes up to Marla's place where they meet, and, they basically hang out there, and basically, this is kind of a weird way to put this. Apparently, Marla and Tyler also become buddies, I guess. Yeah, they just have sex a lot. Sometimes even at, Tyler's place, meaning narrator has to go throughout his day hearing Tyler and Marla do it, like, all the time. And Yeah, I'm telling you, if the person sitting above me or next door ends up like doing it on a regular basis, I'm filing complaints or something. Sometime while that's happening, narrator gets a call from the cops. You know, the cops have been, I don't know, analyzing his apartment that blew up, and well, it turns out that his place didn't blow up by a gas leak. Turns out somebody made a homemade explosive. Yeah? You know, you remember when Tyler was talking about the explosives or whatever? Yeah, Tyler eventually runs out of soap to sell, so yeah, he asks for narrator's help to get supplies to make new soap. And so, yeah, basically they go to a clinic where they go into this where they break into this no trespassing area and steal these bags of I don't know, toxic goo or whatever. I don't know, I think they said that it's, I don't know, body fat or something like that. Whatever it is, it's disgusting, and they have to get it from, you know, this place, and they gotta take it back to Tyler's place to make soap. So this next part's a little hard for me to explain. All right, so you got Tyler and narrator. They're at Tyler's place in the kitchen making bars of soap, and they talk. I have no idea what Tyler's talking to narrator about, because my ignorant and innocent mind cannot comprehend the stuff that comes out of Brad Pitt's mouth in this movie. All I do know is that Tyler burns narrator's hand with a bunch of chemicals, and it burns his hand real bad, and it kind of like screws up back here really bad. I don't know what they were talking about. I was more focused on the hand thing, and I'm like, yeah, that is not cool. Main problem I had with this movie is that it's very hard for me to comprehend the dialogue. This part should be kind of weird. Basically, Marla's there, and basically she wants narrator to help her out with something over at her place. So this one's kind of awkward, but I know this is supposed to like express Marla and narrator's relationship or something, but I don't know, it's kind of weird how that works. Basically, Marla wants narrator to check her chest area for lumps, and she's clean, so yeah, nothing to worry about that. I'm not really sure what the point of that scene was, but yeah, next thing we know, narrator's in the street, and guess who he meets? You know, Bob from the testicular cancer thing. And you know, they're pretty good. They're friends and everything. Turns out Bob has been going to Fight Club too. So yeah, the way he talks about it is like, so hey Bob, well, where have you been? And then Bob's like, yeah, the first rule is that I'm not supposed to talk about it. And then he's like, oh, you're in that thing. All right. Apparently word got out about Fight Club, and more people, including Bob, started joining it, and they start fighting regularly. Anyway, you got one night you got Fight Club going, and you got Tyler. He's there, and he's like, yeah, I'm standing here, and I'm seeing a bunch of new faces around here. That means that somebody has broken the first two rules of Fight Club. And I have no idea what he's talking about, but obviously he gives out a warning as to what will actually happen if you do talk about Fight Club. I do not know. When the Fight Club is cut short, when Lou, the guy that owns the tavern, comes up and he's like, "What the fuck are you doing in my place? I've heard that you guys have been using my basement to do these little fight clubs, and I want you to stop. I want you guys to get out of here right now, or I'm gonna beat the shit out of you." So he tries to he beats the shit out of Tyler, and Tyler eventually fights back. Basically, Lou is like, all right, you win. You can use my basement. But then after he leaves, Tyler's like, all right, you know what, other Fight Club members? I think I got a little bit of a homework assignment for you guys. I want you guys to, I don't know, go somewhere and try and start a fight club with somebody. Yeah, because of that, fight club start popping up across the country. Lots of people start setting up fight clubs everywhere. And but then one day, while narrator's at work, he's talking with his boss, and the boss is like, listen, man, I'm very concerned about your performance or whatever. And I've also been wondering, your face has been kind of very screwed up lately, and I'm just wondering what the heck happened. And I want you to, I don't know, clean up your act or something and get together. And what happened to your face? And then there was like, I fell. Yeah, that's how we're supposed to hide our. That's probably how they're supposed to hide their injuries that they got from Fight Club. Yeah, basically, I don't know what's going on. Basically, narrator gives his boss a bit of a business offer, where he doesn't work for him anymore, but narrator has the offers that he works from home and doesn't have to set foot in this crappy office ever again. And then boss is like, what the are you talking about? I can't do that. And then narrator, for no reason, starts beating himself up, and out of pity, the boss decides to agree to narrator's demands. And so now Fight Club officially has a sponsor. And yeah, if you think the crazy stuff that goes on ends at Fight Club, you are damn wrong. Some nights at with Fight Clubs, Tyler gives envelopes to people in the Fight Club. These are like homework assignments, but here's the thing: they're not your simple algebra homework that you get at like school or something. These are basically orders of them to be committing crimes. Yeah, that's right. He's getting people to commit crime sprees, and usually I draw the line at violence, but influencing people to commit crimes or whatever is just messed up. So yeah, at one point Tyler and narrator are going. They try and rob the store. Tyler holds the clerk at gunpoint, and he's like, "Oh man, you want to die? You want to die? You're trapped in did a biomed job, and now you're trapped working in a crappy convenience store that you don't care for." And fortunately he doesn't kill him, but he basically tells them that you gotta go there and you gotta get your life in order, and if I don't come back in like a month and you're not a vet yet, I'm gonna kill you, that kind of thing, but improving society, I guess. It's kind of weird how that explains how that works out. But yeah, at some point later, narrator's basically chilling at the house, but then you got power tools going on in the basement, and apparently Tyler makes a bunch of bunk beds or something, and then I don't know, a bunch of Fight Club members are suddenly standing out on the porch. Apparently Tyler has recruited people into that participated in the fight clubs to, I don't know, be recruited into Tyler's army. Yeah, I don't know. Now, next thing you know, Tyler has his own little private army of newbie criminals getting ready to do his every bidding. You know, next thing you know, there's like a bunch of people hanging out at Tyler's place, and they start talking about stuff like apparently all these crime sprees or whatever are contributing to this thing called Project Mayhem, and narrator's like, wait, what the hell's Project Mayhem? And they're like, first rule of Project Mayhem, don't ask questions. And it's very weird how they're describing it, like, you know, they have, like, you can see everyone basically knows about this Project Mayhem or whatever, except for narrator, which it'll make sense in a bit. Anyway, oh, and there's another character. Jared Leto is also in this movie. Yeah, he plays a blonde guy named Angel Face. Angel Face, not for long. So yeah, basically, you know, Tyler's army becomes a big problem, and you know, the mayor of the town that it's in, whether it's, I don't know, New York City or somewhere in California or whatever, they don't really describe what city that is, but basically he sends an investigation finding these guys and putting them to justice. And you know, Tyler and his goons can't have that, so they put on masks and they sneak their way into the fancy hotel where he has a press conference going, and you know, Tyler works there, so he kind of gets an advantage. Basically, his goons kind of abduct the mayor, tie him up, and hold him in the bathroom. Basically, talk to him, saying that, I want you to, I don't know, tell them that the terrorist group or whatever does not exist, and you've been going on a wild goose chase. But yeah, you better tell them, because if we don't, we will cut your balls off. I'm not kidding. We will do that if you screw up. Don't worry, this is just a table knife. So don't be alarmed, guys. Look at that. It's not even bent. It's bent too. Look at it. It's not even straight. So yeah, basically now that they have the cops off their backs, during one of the fight clubs or whatever, narrator and Angel Face are fighting, and this part's kind of brutal. Narrator then brutally beats up Angel Face, and it kind of like screws up his face really bad, and it's not a pretty sight to behold. So yeah, this part's kind of a little weird to explain. The next scene we're seeing with narrator and Tyler in the car, along with two other guys whose names I forget. Like I said, I wasn't paying attention to that kind of stuff. Only the key details of the plot. And narrator's very, very worried about it. He's like, what's going on? Why aren't you telling me this stuff? What the hell are you doing? This is crazy. You're gonna get someone killed. And he's like, yeah, I don't care. You see these guys, I made them expendable. He basically made all these guys completely expendable, and he used them for cannon fodder for his own personal gain, and they don't really seem to mind. After that, it's kind of revealed that Tyler was the one that blew up narrator's condo, because, well, Tyler just straight up told him. And I'm like, how in the world did he able to know that? Yeah, one freakish car accident later, Tyler disappears for a while. Yeah, Tyler's gone, but his goons are still at his house doing labor and making soap and organizing crimes that, something real crazy is going on with like a bunch of folders with addresses and stuff like that, and a map with arrows pointing at it, stuff like that. This place is packed. There's a lot of people. Marla's there again too for some reason. Yeah, apparently people in the place start calling the narrator Tyler for some reason, and he's like, what are you talking about? Tyler's gone. He's not here or something. But I'm not really sure what's going on. But next thing we know, something came up. There's like a lot of panic going around. Apparently there was a bit of an accident. There were two guys. One of them was Bob, and there was a bit of an arson assignment where they took this big spherical statue and they kind of used it to demolish a coffee shop, Indiana Jones style. But as they were running, the cops showed up and they shot Bob in the head, killing him. It was very, very graphic imagery there. So the narrator's like, "Oh man, how can this happen? He was my friend. He's dead." And then they're like, the other guys that are there just end up not giving a and they're like, "All right, let's just bury him in the garden there." And then you got narrator fed up with everyone's and he's like, "Fuck this, I'm out of here." And he just leaves. He goes on flights to try and find Tyler. Basically, there's a bunch of fight clubs going throughout all the places he visits. He's at this one bar with a bunch of other guys that are there, and then I don't know. These guys are like, "Hey, Tyler, how's it going? We got everything, I don't know, figured out here, so we're good." And they're like, "Wait, did you just call me Tyler?" And then the guy's like, yeah, you gave me this thing. And he has the same burn mark narrator has. And then he's like, what in the world? And something really, real mind-bending stuff is going around right now. And I can't really put my finger on it quite yet, so eventually narrator and Tyler do meet up somewhere in a hotel room, and it's revealed to narrator that Tyler and narrator are, get this, the same person. What in the world is he talking about? Yeah, apparently all the crazy stuff that's been going around, all the fight clubs orchestrating and all that was narrator. Yeah, it says here Tyler's nothing more than a figment of narrator's imagination, possibly. I'm not really sure how that works either. I mean, if you guys can make sense of it, good for you. But as Tyler says, it won't be long now before the ultimate thing in Project Mayhem finally happens. And basically, narrator's piecing together that something real crazy is going to go around in this city. And narrator tries to make amends with Marla, but she's very upset for some reason. He tries to turn himself in and explain the thing to the cops, and basically the detective that's there, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go to my office real quick and take a look at this, see if it checks out." And while he's gone, the other cops are there. They turn to narrator, and as it turns out, those cops are on Tyler's side, and they try to cut his balls off, but luckily he was able to escape them with his life. And so yeah, it was revealed eventually Tyler's plot gets revealed. Apparently, he wants to use the homemade explosives on a couple of skyscrapers, which are owned by credit card companies, and with those things, the credit card things are made by Zero, therefore putting an end to all of consumerism, possibly, and possibly driving the world into complete and utter chaos, or at least just America. The other parts of the world are just fine. Eventually, narrator goes to one of those buildings to try and disarm the bombs, but Tyler's there, and the two of them fight, or possibly just the one of them fight. It's kind of weird to explain. Next thing you know, you got narrator basically just going around trying to fight Tyler, but they can't really get a hit on him, and Tyler's just beating the crap out of him. And the way it looks in the security footage is that you got narrator just standing there beating himself up. Like, think of it as like Patrick in that one SpongeBob episode, where he beats himself up or something like that. Think of the fight scene as something like that. And so we bring them where we are now, basically. Tyler holds narrator at gunpoint, minutes away from the buildings exploding, and then the narrator's like, you're not real. You're just a figment of my imagination. Oh wait, I have an idea. And so he manages to piece it together. Turns out the gun is in his hand, and then he's like points it at his head, and Tyler's like, "Hey man, what are you doing? You're gonna kill yourself. Don't do that." And he's like, "Yeah, watch me, bitch." And he puts the gun in his mouth. He pulls the trigger, shoots himself in the face. But I'm not really sure how this is explained. The narrator lives somehow. I'm not really sure how that happens, but I don't know. Tyler instead, gets a big hole in the back of his head, and he dies somehow. I'm not sure how that works. And eventually, Marla and a bunch of Tyler's goons show up, and they're like, "Hey, what's going on, man?" And the narrator, or Tyler or whatever, is like, "Nah, whatever. Everything's fine. Get out of here." And so all the goons leave, leaving just narrator and Marla. And they're basically just standing there at the building, and this is basically the end. They stand there, they talk for a little bit, and the buildings explode. Yeah, the credit card buildings explode, so it's kind of weird how that works. I'm not really sure who won in this scenario. Is it the good guy? Is it the bad guy? I don't know. They don't that, but basically the final shot consists of narrator and Marla holding hands as they watch the buildings collapse. Luckily for them, all the buildings are empty, and so is basically the whole block. So yeah, nobody really gets harmed from those explosions. So yeah, that's probably a good thing. Well, that was Fight Club. That was very, very interesting watch. Very, very messed up, I'd say. It's not my kind of style, but it's still quite a remarkable movie. One of the best movies to ever exist. And don't talk about Fight Club. Wait a minute. I just spent the past hour talking about Fight Club. What happens if you actually talk about Fight Club? Well, I'm not going to wait around to find out, so I'm going to get out of here. What the hell was I thinking? Should have done freaking shit I knew to like that. And now I've done a very, very crazy stuff. What a day this has been. Had to sit through 2 classes. Have to make freaking references for that one class. For the teacher that reminds me of that one teacher from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I saw that new Mario trailer. That was probably the most entertaining part of the movie and the most entertaining part of my day. And next thing I know, I'm risking being hunted down by the criminal underworld. All right, now where's my earbud? Pick up. It's been a while since I've used this thing. Come on, pick up. Hello? Yeah, it's me. It happened. Yeah, I know. I did the one thing you told me not to, and I'm sorry for that. Yeah, listen, I'm gonna be out for a while because of it. You wouldn't happen to know anywhere that could help me disappear? You know anywhere where I can get a fake ID or something like that? Uh-huh. Yeah. Yep, and that's where I'm going first. Yep, way ahead of you. As soon as I hang up, I'm gonna drop this earpiece into the garbage disposal. All right. How much longer do I have? 15 minutes? All right. All right. I guess this is it. See you on the other side, buddy. Thank you, Skylar. That's too big.